everyone. Welcome to the Return to Jesus podcast. I am very, very excited to be talking with you today with my dear, dear friend, Jill Howell. She is one of my closest friends, and I love her so much, and it is just an honor to be able to share her with you. She is wise, she is kind, she is compassionate, she is motivated, she is hardworking. I could go on and on and on about Jill because I just love her so much. So I know this conversation is going to be a gift. Jill, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yay, I'm so glad you're here. And I'm going to just tell everybody a little bit more about your area of expertise before we hop into the questions and our conversation and all that good stuff. So Jill Howell is an emotional stability coach, speaker, somatic healing practitioner, and founder of Dancing in the Mess. She has overcome complex PTSD, chronic pain, IBS, chronic fatigue, anxiety, and depression. She guides women to transform the relationship they have with themselves and embody peace and joy again. Jill's holistic mind, body, spirit coaching equips women to listen to their body, rewire their nervous systems, heal mind-body symptoms, and break free from survival mode and the negative patterns of emotional suppression. Jill, I'm excited. Like, I listened to that list and I'm like, oh, I need this. I need this.
Don't we all?
Don't we all? And, you know, yeah. I wish I said to Jill just a little bit ago, I wish I would have hit record like 15 minutes ago, because Jill and I haven't talked for a little bit. And so we wanted to get caught up, but like, she was giving me personally so many wonderful nuggets of wisdom. So this is going to be good, Jill.
I know, right? Let's go, girl.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. So for those of you that have not tuned in before, the way this podcast works, the first sections or series, I guess, of the questions are faith specific, talking about spiritual habits, practices, rhythms that people incorporate into their day to just help them find peace, to help them return to the Lord, to ground themselves. So that's going to be the first section. And the second section is going to be more specific to Jill's area of expertise. So all of those wonderful things that I just told you about her and what she brings to the table in every space she enters. So we're going to start with the faith-specific questions. Jill, the first thing I want to ask you, so this season is on grace. It's specifically grace. So a lot of the questions will kind of have a grace component. But because this is the Return to Jesus podcast, when you hear the words return to Jesus, what does that mean to you? What does that return maybe look like in your life personally?
So do you know, and I think this is because I'm a somatic coach in the sense, somatic, if nobody's heard of that word before, somatic comes from the Greek word body. So everything that I do and the lens of which I operate in the world now is based on an embodied experience. So for me, a visual comes to mind. I feel like I have this visual of just running with God, bent down on his knees, open-handed, just ready to embrace me.
I love that. So it's
Yeah.
like you're running to just feel his presence.
Yes. So everything I'm and because of the way that I've gone through my own healing journey, yes, everything is a felt experience for me now. I'm very in touch and in tune with my body level expression. So it's interesting because years ago, the religious version of me would have had probably this little script of oh, this is what it means how to return to Jesus, or what does that mean to return to Jesus? I'm like, no, I have a visual. I have a felt sense in my body of what it would feel like.
Yes, I love that so much, because I think sometimes, if we're being honest, faith can become just more in your head, right? It's just something you do. It's just maybe a box to be checked off, or just something that it's a physical something you do versus a that loving embrace that I think God longs to give his children. So That's just so beautiful. Okay, so what are some spiritual practices and habits that you have incorporated into your life that work for you in the season you find yourself in currently? Because every season's different, right? And
It
are there
is.
also any practices you've had to let go? So, what have you incorporated and maybe what's changed over the years?
You know what's interesting is, I mean, and you being one of my closest friends, like, no, I've been through like massive traumas even as an adult. And each time I've had these traumatic experiences happen, my relationship with God shifts, or the way that I interact with spirituality, with God, with the Holy Spirit, with the world, with myself, it
Yeah.
shifts. Every experience transforms us from the inside out. So, right now, it's very interesting. I find myself in a season where I'm not reading the Bible like I used to all the time. I'm not even going into church right now. I'm not anti the church. I'm not anti God. I am like, I've found myself taking a breath the last few years of connecting with God in a very embodied way, outside of the context and the box of religion.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm already getting tender about that.
Oh,
And that's okay. That's okay.
yeah. That's what I
Yeah.
love about you. That's one of the
It's
many things I love about you.
Thank you, friend. Yeah, it's like I can't do or be anything but authentic, right? Like it's just where I'm at. I've been through too much crap to
Yes,
be anything else. To
you've
be
been through a
anything else.
lot.
And so it's like here at this point in life, I'm learning to be really present with myself, with my body, with the spirit, with energy, of recognizing that I'm having an energy exchange constantly. And so I'm very protective of my energy, and of like for me it looks more like being in nature and connecting with the actual source of the universe, grounding, having my feet in the barefoot grass, swinging outside, and just connecting and appreciating and valuing what God has created. And the biggest of all is allowing and giving myself permission to appreciate and value me,
Yes.
which I had lived in the first 40 years of my life not doing that. So the last 5 years have been about me rebuilding and healing the relationship with myself and valuing me as someone who God created. Not from that sense of, I think sometimes religion can put this in your ear that like it's selfish to do that, and like it's self-seeking. But it's like I call it a pause, because I feel like I'm just now, like every blue moon, I'll go back to a church service, or I'll watch a church service online, um, or I'll read. But it's like for me, it's more about like coming back to these roots of like, how did God even make me? What does
Yeah.
God even see in me? And can I look at myself in the mirror and like who I see? Because the first 40 years, there was always this part of me that I didn't like what I saw
Hmm.
in the mirror. Even if I liked other parts of me, there's still parts of me that I really did not value,
Yeah.
love, appreciate. And so yeah, I'm in this season right now where my spirituality looks different. It's journaling, praying in journal format to God, little moments of gratitude, little moments of just connecting with, just this higher level energy that God provides, and tapping into it more in an embodied way.
Yeah, I love that, Jill. Well, and when you talked about grounding, putting your feet outside, swinging, we are God's creation and you are experiencing God in his creation. And I think there is something so incredibly tangible about just meeting God and experiencing God in that place. And I just really appreciate the things that you said because I think if, people are being honest, I would imagine a lot of people can relate to that feeling of looking in the mirror and being like, well, everything else God created is beautiful. Like that, obviously, that's beautiful. Obviously, that person's beautiful. But me, I think maybe it gets some things got messed up in there. And so I just love how you are appreciating your beautiful self as part of his beautiful creation. And
And you know what? I don't feel guilty about it anymore.
no,
When I took a pause from being in the church sector for a bit, because I've been a part of leadership in church for decades,
oh, yeah.
but it's like, when I took the pause, a sacred pause of being in that realm, it was more of like this feels right. This feels good. Like I have been bypassing, dismissing, ignoring, repressing, suppressing all of my own core needs and the quiet nudges of God in order for the sake of fitting into the confines of what other people are telling me I need to be doing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love what you're saying so much because one of my huge hearts behind this podcast and even asking this question is trying to break down those images that people have that this is the only way to meet with God. You have to go to church every Sunday. You have to have quiet time in the morning. You have to join a small group. I feel like we put God in this box, and that's why I just I say this a lot, but he becomes a box to check off. And I say that because I have been there, and so I so much love what you're saying because he is the creator. He's in everything. He's through everything. And there are so many different ways to experience God. And I just think we miss him when we put all these rules on how it's supposed to look and how it's supposed to happen. And then
Mhm.
when we shame people, for, oh, well, you haven't been at church, maybe you must be not in a good relationship with God right now. It's like, well, no, that's not the case. Like, I just am away from church right now. I think there can be shame and judgment and condemnation heaped on people. And I'm not saying like
Yeah.
those things aren't good. Like,
Right,
like,
right.
like I'm not saying those practices aren't good. It's just different for everybody. Our relationship is different. We are different. The way we experience the world is different. And I think it's just so important to come back to that space of you and God, like you said, running into his arms and
Mhm.
finding what works for you in this season and just shutting off those lies that it has to be a certain way
Yeah.
or
Like
that you're
honestly, go ahead.
no, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say, you and I were talking about this early. I'll just grab it. Grab my little blankie right here.
Oh, the
But like,
blankie.
no, like when I'm sad, when I'm hurting, when I'm scared, it's like wrapping myself in my blankie and connecting with God and allowing God to hold me and just rock me because I need to be rocked and holding myself, but feeling held and
Hmm.
creating an embodied experience of safety and connection deep to the core of my being where my body says, yes, I
Yeah.
love this. I need this.
Yes. That's so that's so beautiful. And I just really anybody that's listening, I just hope you took that nugget and you tuck that away. Like when Jill and I were talking earlier, she said she always has a blankie with her. Like when she's doing her coaching and I really just think that that is such an incredible practice to
You know who taught me that?
who?
My teenage daughters.
Really?
Well, not part of it. Part of it was they take blankets with them anytime we travel. And for years they did. And one time I decided, try and take my own blanket, like my favorite cozy blanket from home when we travel. And I'm going to see what it feels like. And I was like, oh, it felt like taking a piece of home with
Oh,
and like having that safety with. And so I started it. And then I I found a blanket I loved for my couch, and then I went and bought a duplicate. I literally went back to Costco, bought a second one, and said, "I love this blanket and the pattern so much. It's coming into my office too, so this is my blanket in my office, and then I have one on my couch too."
Jill, I love that. And cheers to all the teenagers in the world because that is the absolute truth. Anytime we go anywhere, they take their blankies and they take their giant squishmallow pillows. And it's like we have to take them with us everywhere we go.
Yeah, go to the
Heck
movies.
yeah.
Go
Grown
to
up
the
should
movies
too.
in your
Yes.
PJ pants and in
What?
with a favorite blankie. I did it not too long ago in the last year, and I was like, "This is life-changing," and I don't feel weird. I don't feel shame. I'm just embracing the way that this culture is becoming more and more authentic.
Yeah. Oh my
Like,
gosh, the
they don't
PJ
care.
pants. The PJ pants. Yes. Oh my goodness, Jill, I feel like you just changed my movie going and this like me just sitting here. I will always have a blankie because every night at the end of the night, my reward to myself for, for the day is I lie on the couch with my favorite blanket every night. Like this is the thing, and it's like my reward. But you know what? You've just made me realize it doesn't have to be an end of the day reward.
Well,
To
no, because you don't have to like, it doesn't you don't have to do anything to earn it.
no, it's my blankie.
So here's the thing, you're worthy of it, but also like our nervous system. So when I say nervous system, I mean like body and brain connected in a communication with each other. Like our nervous systems need sensory soothing to
Mm.
make it through every distressing thing that we face. And so to
Oh.
me, it's like, yeah, like I feel when I feel more at peace and my body feels more okay and safe in the world, I energetically, spiritually can open up to receive the love from God more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not living from this braced stance of anxiety and stress and fear of like, and like guarding myself, protection from the world and the mess of it all. It's like, no, when I teach my body, it can be soft and gentle in the world. When I show my body how to do that, then my brain follows suit and my heart does and my spirit does. And energetically, I feel closer to God in those moments.
Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Because, like we were talking about earlier, we so often we just get stuck in here
Yeah, in our head.
and in our head. And there's
Yeah.
all so much more to each of
Now, did you
us.
know this? I have an interesting fact for you. I don't know if you've known this before.
Oh, no, I don't know. Tell me.
I don't
Probably not.
wanna
I probably don't know it.
completely I don't wanna completely hijack by asking you a question on your
No,
podcast.
I highly doubt I know whatever this is, but let's go for it. Let's go for it.
Okay, so did you know that in this communication highway between our brain and our body, that 80% of the information is actually coming up the vagus nerve, which is the communication highway, from the body to the brain? Only
Oh.
20% of the communication on this highway goes from the brain down to the body. So the vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve of our body, and that's what I'm talking about.
80% comes from your
80%
body?
up to your brain. It's sending signals of safety or threat all day long. That's what this purpose of this communication highway. It goes from your brain all the way down to your gut, and it
Oh.
intervenes like with all of your organs. So it's connecting and it's feeling and sensing whenever your body is feeling that little alarm, and that alarm goes off. Like
Ah.
your body is a freaking smoke detector, sending signals all day long to your brain. This doesn't feel safe.
It's crazy. Well,
Yet this is
how do
mind-blowing,
you
isn't it?
how do you know what kind of signals are being transmitted?
Well, this is where what I've learned and why, like, after 2 decades of talk therapy alone, because I had childhood trauma, I had adulthood trauma, and stacked trauma that turned into complex trauma for me. When my nervous system collapsed in 2019, 2020 because of another traumatic thing that was happening, I was stuck in fight, flight, or freeze all the time. And my
Mm.
body, I didn't know how to get out of it. I was stuck. I had a lot of chronic pain. So our body is sending signals through things like pain, any dis-ease in the body, autoimmune disorders,
Oh, I've got
um,
those.
yeah,
I have
autoimmune
those.
disorders, IBS, headaches, sleep disturbances, sensations. Basically, somatic healing comes from the approach of understanding the sensations of our body and what those sensations are communicating by connecting with our body and communicating with it. Like I literally ask my body, when I feel sensations in my body, I ask it, what are you holding here? How long has
Hmm.
it been held here? What is this part of me? Because I'm trained in something called somatic parts work, which is based in IFS therapy, which is internal family systems, if you've never heard of it. But it's a therapeutic approach. Some counselors will take too, but I come at it from a body level. So I'm listening and reading the messages of my body, and I'm teaching women how to do that for themselves because 80% of the time the messages are coming from the body first, and the brain's trying to
Yeah.
interpret.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
incredible. Yeah,
right.
I think I've been stuck in fight or flight for a while, honestly. I mean, if I just, there's just been so much going on. That's why I'm starting to do the trauma work. But I'm very interested in learning more about this
Yeah, it's
because
kind of
I
like
feel like it's a lot very life
decoding.
changing.
It is. It's decoding what is my body actually holding here? And
Yeah.
for to go from being a person who in 2019, 2020, when I say my nervous system collapsed, I had intense chronic pain in my neck and shoulders to the extent that I tried and spent thousands of dollars to try and get rid of the pain,
Yeah, which I
whatever
think
was being
most
held.
people would. That's what most people
Yeah.
would do. Like go to the doctor,
Yeah.
go to the chiropractor, take the ibuprofen. Maybe you need to be on a steroid injection or something like that. Like I
Yeah.
feel like that would be
Physical
the
yeah, that
yeah
stuff, massage, acupuncture, cupping, dry
yeah.
needling, physical therapy, chiropractors. I tried it all and nothing would get rid of the pain
Oh
because it
gosh.
was emotional pain that was suppressed and held in my body because of the complex experiences of emotions, multiple emotions that were happening at the same time that I didn't know what the heck to do with them.
Wow.
So, really, when I say this is cool, because I'm actually becoming really passionate about this. Like, as we're speaking, how am I growing closer to God? Like, when I connect with my body and the creation that He actually made, and
Yeah.
I understand what my body is actually speaking to me, it's powerful.
Yes.
And
And
and I lean in.
incredible that it does all that. That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And powerful, like you said. Like take
Yeah.
is agency the word I'm looking for? Like you have
Yes.
agency over your body.
Well, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And to take aligned actions
Yeah.
based on the information that my body is giving me, I've learned how to respond to the parts of me that are in need, the parts of me that didn't get core needs met along the way during traumatic or difficult or stressful experiences. And we have to remember that our body remembers them all on a cellular level. This is biology. I don't understand why it's not being taught as much. It's like mind blowing, really, when you think about it. It's like the body remembers distress. It remembers the dis-ease of every experience that you've ever been through, and it holds it. And all it takes is a little something to just spark it and re-trigger that body level response in your system to say, "Ooh, I'm scared. I want to hide. This doesn't feel good. I feel really small. I feel not safe here."
Yeah. But that's probably
Yeah.
why when people have massages or deep tissue body work done, you'll hear some people say like, "Oh, I went home and I cried," or "I went home and I
Yeah.
slept," or "I went home and I like." It's not
Yeah.
uncommon to hear somebody say, "I went home and something out of the ordinary happened to them."
Yeah.
From what you're saying, that makes sense because
Yes.
they must have gotten into something that the body was
Yes. I
holding.
actually had one really messy chiropractor, appointment where I sat in the office and sobbed for 30 minutes. I couldn't even get to my car. Like,
Oh,
something that was triggered and hit like in the spot where my body was holding it because I was going there to go into the spots where it was hurting the most. And it just like elicited this extreme emotional experience for me.
Oh, wow. And
Yeah.
that was
It was
before
embarrassing,
and that was before
but
you started all this,
healing.
right? So you like, "What's happening?"
Yeah,
Were you
yeah, I wasn't aware. I knew my body was holding what I called stress, and I think a lot of women do that. We really we don't know what to do with some of the heavier, messier emotions like shame, guilt, anger, um, you know, grief and sadness, loss. Like
Yeah.
those heavier emotions that when they come up and we don't know what to do with them, it's easier just to say, I feel stressed or I feel overwhelmed. And we just kind of put this blanket statement on it. And so
Mhm.
I was doing that at that point in my life. I was like, I'm stressed. I know I'm stressed. I know I'm overwhelmed. I know that this situation's hard, but I didn't understand the magnitude and the brilliance of the body
Yes.
at that
Stress.
point.
Everybody people say that all the time. Like, "I'm stressed."
Yeah.
Like, it's so
Yeah.
common. I'm really stressed." Like, that's a feeling you hear people express a
Yeah.
lot. So, Jill, I'm gonna ask you because this series is on grace.
Yeah.
How has your experience in the somatic work and learning about the body and embracing your body, how has that led to maybe grace, more grace? I guess I
Yeah.
don't mean to be leading in that question.
No,
Usually I
but it
say
has.
what does grace mean to you? But from everything that you've said, I just would imagine you're so much more gracious with yourself, I would think.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, the relationship I have with myself is completely unlike anything it's ever been. I'm so gracious and loving and gentle and tenderhearted towards myself now, compassionate. And all of these parts of me that feel really big, messy feelings. Like
Mhm.
I am holding them in with grace, with this just really gentle allowance and acceptance. So when I looked at that question of like, what does it mean to me? And like, it means acceptance
Mm.
through all of my humanity, that in all of the messiness of who I am as a human, and all of my imperfections, and all of the ways that I will make mistakes, because God has created us to learn through only making mistakes. We have to. We have to experience mistakes in order to learn. It's part of it, right?
Absolutely.
But it's allowing myself and not just allowing it, but like accepting it and honoring that this is the system of the world. This is the spiritual system that has been created, this divine, source of experience that we get to go through. We don't have to go through. We get to go through it, right? We get to go through
Yeah.
it because it's a refining process of allowing and accepting who we really are becoming, who we were created to be, who God has created other people to be, who they are, accepting that they are on their own journey of learning too. And it starts though with us. I was so judgmental and critical of myself, and
Mm.
that would overflow even inwardly, even without other people knowing, onto my projections of other people. When I would think about other people or what they were doing, I would sometimes be really harsh and critical, but it's because I was with myself. So now grace is about being gentle and loving towards you first and
That
letting the
makes
overflow come out
that
to
makes good
others.
sense. So the more grace that you have experienced, the more grace you are able to give. It's a flow.
Yeah, it's a flow. That's what I am all about, coming back into flow, because when we're in a stuck state, like we're in survival mode, we're in a stuck state, we are not flowing.
Mm.
Energy is not flowing, emotions are not flowing. Like maybe they're flowing and crying and things like that, and that is a somatic release, but a lot of times the energy will just get stuck. And
Mm.
emotions are just energy in motion. So it's like I'm more gracious with my messy emotions.
It's so beautiful. And I'm sure
Yeah.
gives other people permission to be as well because you're not
Yeah.
stuffing it all. Oh, Jill,
That's
that's
the
such good
goal.
stuff. Such good stuff. So we've kind of jumped into this, which I knew would happen because like I said, Jill is one of my best friends. We've been friends for how long have we been friends? Well, I mean, Sophia
Kylie was
is
a baby, almost
yeah.
20 years or
Yes,
like
it's like
19 years.
yeah, like 2 decades almost. So I
Mhm.
knew once we started talking, I was like, we're just going to talk. Like I have the questions, but I was excited for the conversation just to go. But I want to dive into more of just
Yeah.
what the work you are doing. So powerful. Excited to share with you that I have written a book titled Return to Jesus, an invitation to abide with him in every beautiful, stressful, or tedious moment. It is a dream come true, and I could not be more thrilled to share with you that this book is available online at stores such as Target, Walmart, Amazon, Christian Books, and more. The book will be available on April 15th, 2025 to purchase in store as well. And I just really appreciate your support. It means the world to me. I could not do this without you. And I'm just so very grateful. So be sure to grab your copy today. Again, it's Return to Jesus, an invitation to abide with him in every beautiful, stressful, or tedious moment. So, what inspired you, Jill? I know you were talking about the chronic pain. Was that the inspiration to get into this line of work that you're currently doing?
Yeah, it's so interesting because really in 2018, which was before my last major trauma that happened, I had already started like I hosted a live workshop. I knew there was something brewing in me and I started writing a book. Um, and then when 2019 and 2020 happened and things just escalated to a different level that made me feel so out of control, I was like, there's no way. And at that point, I felt like I was quitting. I viewed it
Mm.
as I'm quitting. I'm not doing this. I don't have capacity for this. I'm not good enough to do this. Like, look at my life. Look at the crap storms, here. Yeah, I was like, no. So I kind of put it to the side and focused really on my own healing journey. And when I discovered a different way to heal after 20 years of trying endlessly to heal,
Mm.
and the light bulbs just kind of kept coming on, and I transformed the relationship with myself and then started noticing how it was transforming my relationship with my husband and my daughter and my kids and like um, other people. I I really just got to this point where I realized this is why I had to pause what I was doing. There
Yeah.
was a major piece missing, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for the pain.
Mm.
I'm so grateful for it now. 5 years ago, I wouldn't have said that.
Yeah, that's a really big thing to say. That's a
Yeah,
wonderful thing to say. Really. I mean,
yeah. But
what
once I knew that there were different strategies and different ways to heal, and it felt so much more aligned, and it felt so much easier, and it felt so much gentler and loving, and it wasn't feeling like I was just talking about my crap, like I just vomited on the table, and then I'd feel sometimes like I'd leave counseling, like, "I just puked, and here it is, and I'm still carrying it out with me, and I don't know
yeah.
what to do with it. How do I get rid of it?" And
Yes.
when I learned a different healing approach, and it's not about getting rid of it, it's about loving it and tending to it and nurturing this part of me that was hurting. Um, I felt compelled, like, actually, I really want to focus my energy as much as I can in moving in this direction because I want more women to experience this. I don't want anybody else staying stuck in a cage like I felt inside of my own
Mm.
self.
Yeah, well, and I love, what you said too about how you're grateful for the pause. Like you see that pause was necessary because I think that I mean, I know I do this. I would guess a lot of people do is you set out on a course and maybe something happens and it doesn't look the way that you thought. It can be so easy. I do this like, oh, I failed. Oh, I messed up. Oh, why did I even
I
try
suck.
that? I
I suck.
suck.
That's
Yeah.
my favorite one.
Yeah. It's like all of a sudden, it's just all of this condemnation. You're just heaping all this
Mhm.
condemnation. But then now, you're on the other side, 5 years plus down the road, and you can say, oh, that pause was a beautiful, necessary piece of this of your life that now has
Yeah.
led to you encouraging other people, other women to find that full healing experience that I truly
Mhm.
believe we all long for. And so
Mhm.
I just hope people are encouraged that if you're in a pause, if something has happened and you are on a different direction than you had imagined you would be, you're not failing. You don't suck. This, that this, it, I think those are necessary. They're necessary pauses. And sometimes we just have
Yeah.
to take them and trust in the pause and trust in the pain. I mean, when you're in pain, it hurts because it's pain. But it is incredible to see as you move further away that just the gifts that are planted in the pain, like you said before, like you have to fall down to learn. You have to have things happen that are unpleasant to really truly be able to maybe empathize with people that are in those positions. Or I don't know, there's so much that happens in the pain, and when you're in it, it's, yeah, I mean, it hurts, but
It's
I
a
love.
necessary part of the growth process.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it is.
It's,
So,
you know, yeah, go ahead.
no. What were you going to say?
Don't mind
It's
me. You go
okay.
ahead.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask, so what has been your greatest joy in your
Mm.
current line of work?
My greatest joy is when one of my girls allows me to coach them.
Oh, that's so sweet, Jill.
Yeah, like I love helping women in general. My passion is to help women break free from the bondage and from the cages that they're putting themselves in. Like, because honestly, like I recognize that my thoughts, my beliefs, my actions, my patterns of stress responses and trauma responses were creating this cage around me. And I learned I had the key to unlock the cage and to step out of it and to live free from it.
Mm.
And so I'm always so deeply honored, um, and because I do view myself as, like, an intuitive energy healer too, like, I feel the emotions of other people. I sense stuff that they're holding without them ever speaking. It's a gift that God has given me, and so I love, love, love being able to engage in it even though it's hard and it's heavy and I will cry sometimes
Mm.
as I'm saying things or as I'm engaging with people and what they're holding inside. Um, but man, the most deep, meaningful work for me is when one of my kids is hurting and they finally soften to open up to let me in on that
Oh.
level. And specifically, I'm in a blended family situation. My daughter is the one that's become more open to me doing that. And every time I do, I'm just like deeply, soulfully grateful to God for the
Mm.
opportunity to create a breakthrough in her own life, to help her heal her trauma too.
Wow, that is so powerful because there are so many cycles that we unintentionally, like there's just junk that we put on our kids unintentionally, and cycles, patterns that families pass down, usually unintentionally. So the fact that you are going into those places and helping them to truly heal, I mean, what a gift. Obviously like the biggest joy for you, but then you'll get to see like the fruit of this play out. Like it's, I mean,
Yeah.
that's
The
really
hardest part
incredible.
for me is like, if I could get them to all agree to doing coaching sessions with me weekly and regularly, that'd be amazing. Instead, it's only in the crisis moments when they're actually open to it because it's like, "I need help. This doesn't feel good," whatever's happening. And then it's like, "Are you open? Are you open to me, like, coaching you and leading you right now?" And if they are and they say yes, that's like my heart lights up, like,
Yeah.
"Yay."
Well, there's another lesson we can learn from there because I think if a lot of us are being honest, that's a pretty common response that you don't want to do
It
the
sure is.
work unless you're in a really painful place. I think a lot of times it's the really painful places that motivate us to open up and be like, okay, fine, I need help with this. Versus, no,
Mhm.
everything, I'm feeling really good. No, no, I'm good. I'm good. I think that,
"It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, fine, fine, great. Well, and
Everything's fine.
Jill,
I'm good."
I'm good. You have always been, since I have met you, like you said, you feel so deeply. That's another one of the things that I have always just loved. Oh, no, I'm going to get emotional. That's one of the things I've just always really loved about you. Like you enter every space that you go into just fully engaged, fully present, not afraid to connect with people on those emotional levels that I'm fine, I'm good, I'm good. That's where most of us are kind of trained to go. And you'll walk into a room and it's like you'll feel what's happening and you'll go there. And I just know personally in my life, like I remember the first conversation we ever had. I remember you calling to ask about our house church. And I remember because you were so honest. You were like, yeah, we're going to give it a try. Like, but we don't know. We just moved into the area. And I remember getting off the phone, like, really hope that she likes this place and sticks around because I just liked you so much. And then when you walked in, you brought yourself. And that was even then at that point, like you said, where you hadn't done all the work that you've done now. So, we don't live by each other, so I don't get to see you very often. But I can only imagine what you're bringing into the spaces you're entering now, with all the healing that you've done. Um, yeah, it's just such a gift. So, how would
Thank
you
you.
you're welcome. You're very welcome. So how would you encourage others, because you've talked about how you have found that grace that has allowed you to enter into the flow of grace with other people. How would you encourage others to learn to be gracious with themselves? Because I think that can be a hard thing sometimes.
I think it starts real simple with noticing sensations in our body, emotions that we're experiencing, and naming them, and then starting to respond to them. Responding to them lovingly like you would to a kid or
Mm.
to a really good friend or somebody you love. I think it's so much easier to be gracious to ourselves when we're viewing it from a neutral space. So for me, when I first started the healing journey somatically of connecting with my body and what it was really holding, I would recognize that some of the emotions I would feel as an adult actually tracked back to when I was a child, when I first originally started feeling the emotions. And so, like I was telling you before we even started this podcast, of like, yeah, I have a 6 to 7, 8 year old inside of me
Mm.
who wants to hide when she feels raw, when she feels vulnerable, when she feels scared, and when she feels like having authentic emotions is not acceptable to somebody else, or feels uncomfortable, like they feel uncomfortable by it. She wants to go run and hide, and she wants to
Blanky.
shut down. She wants the
Blanky.
blankie.
Yeah.
She wants the blankie. And so when I started viewing things through the lens of inner child healing, and that's what somatic parts work is all about in IFS therapy, it's all about connecting to the parts of us that originally started feeling these emotions. and we recognize, oh, that's still stored in my body. That's still a part of me. It's a
Mm.
part of me that still has a core unmet need. And I, as a strong self leader, can access this highest version of me and start leading, guiding, and reparenting these parts of me that feel that way.
Wow. That's
And
incredible.
so it's like leaning into, where is this emotion? When did I first start feeling this emotion? And then for me to talk to that part of me, instead of me trying to mantra, affirmation my way to thinking something different, or even praying my way to thinking and feeling something different, it just didn't work for me enough. Not long term, anyways. Um, I found that if I connected with the younger parts of me, younger meaning any part of me before today. And that,
I love that. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I love that
yeah,
you said that because I think a lot of times we think of you're like, okay, that's between the age of like 17 to like first memory. Like that, like I think that that's what people think. So I love these. Yesterday, I mean, yeah, you were younger yesterday. So okay, sorry. Go
yes,
ahead. I just am like
yeah, no,
that
it's
blew me
good.
that blew me away because the whole time even as
Yeah,
you're talking, I'm imagining like little. I mean, no, you were never that tall, but you know what I mean.
little Jill,
Little
little
Jill,
bitch, little
little
tiny
Jill.
doll figure Jill. Yeah. Yeah, but if I can talk to that part of me and I neutralize the emotion when I do that. I separate from it and I communicate with that part of me of like, oh, hey, sweet girl, I see you. Because I have a picture of her. That 6 to 8 year old girl, she's the one where it started. There's a lot of deepness there that I've had to uncover.
Mm.
But I have her picture right here, always on my
Oh,
desk, and I speak to her. She's a
that's
part of
so
me. She's with me
sweet.
always. She's the one who's scared, and she's the one who was taught to go run and hide her emotions and to not come out until she was okay. And so
Oh,
when I feel
wow.
raw and vulnerable, this little girl inside of me is like, go run to the bathroom. That's where you're supposed to go. Go hide. Go hide to your
Yeah.
closet. Nobody wants to deal with your emotions. Nobody can handle it.
And so much of us is formed in that space, when in those
Yes.
those years they're called formative years for a reason.
Right?
They are very formative. So
Yes.
you're blowing my mind. The fact that there's just this, like, yeah, we are all the pieces, all the parts of ourselves. We are every age we've ever been, we're every experience we've ever experienced. It's all there. So
Yes.
to have that
Yes.
visual, oh my goodness. I'm literally, after this call, I'm grabbing a blanket and I'm getting a picture of myself and I am taking that with me everywhere I go.
And you can
Like,
turn on some music, some gentle, loving music. You can light a candle or put on some essential oils and just breathe. Come back
yes.
home to the sweetness. It's like, so for me, I can handle when I see her, this is what started me on the journey of being able to see her in representation, see her in my mind, and be like, okay, I can talk to her more tenderly, with more grace, with more compassion, with more kindness.
Yeah. So would you say to somebody who's hearing all of this and they're like,
Yeah.
that sounds great, but that's terrifying. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to get into all of that. I don't want to go to those places. They've been buried for a reason. So what would
Mhm.
you say to somebody who maybe once like is hearing this is like I kind of want it, but it's like they're afraid. Like they want to get healthy and take a
Mhm.
step, but it just seems so scary. What would you say to that
Yeah.
person?
I would say that it makes perfect sense that if you have not been taught emotional intelligence and emotional regulation skills, meaning you don't know how to actually tune in to what's happening and you don't know how to respond when the emotions hit. And you are really good at finding ways to avoid or numb or repress and just move along. We're taught at a young age, and the generations before us were really good at this, at the whole grind our way through it and just push it to the side, throw it under the rug. I like to use the visual of
Yeah.
throwing it into a coat closet, like a junk closet. It's like every time an emotion comes up that we don't know what to do with, we just like throw it in the coat closet and we move along. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, then all of a sudden, every time that you are triggered with an emotion that you have felt at any time along the past, it's like there's a chain link of all of these emotions that have been expressed in all these different moments that have accumulated throughout the years. So the older we get, the more we have of them. And so then what happens is we open the coat closet and all of a sudden all of this crap falls out at us and we're like, "Ah,
Oh,
this is too much. This is
scary.
scary.
Yeah.
Push it back in. Push it back
Close.
in. Push it
Close
back
it.
in."
Ah, ah, ah.
And then turn away and let's go put on something happy and let's go
Lock it.
drink and let's go smoke or let's go, you know, watch some comedian or let's do something to just avoid the fact
Yeah.
that that closet is overflowing and I just don't know what to do with it. So
Yes.
for me, I would say it's totally okay. It makes sense to feel scared if you've not been taught how to actually respond to emotions that you're feeling. Most of us weren't taught it at home or at school.
So what if
And
people are scared but they're ready? Like what if they're scared but or they're not scared at all? They're just like, "You know what? I'm ready. Like I am ready." How do they begin to take a step in this direction of
well, for me, I mean, the answer was like when I kind of put my fork in the sand, I drew my line, whatever you want to say. I in 2020 is when I hired like a trauma recovery coach, which is about basically what I do. I try to not use the word trauma too much because it just scares people when you're like, I don't
yeah.
have trauma. So many people don't think they have trauma. It's like, well, if you have chronic stress, it's because you've had some sort of traumatic thing that's happened that your body remembers, and it felt like it was traumatic,
Do you think
even if you're
most
not aware of it.
do you think most people I don't know, maybe this is like wrong
Yes,
thinking, but
yes,
I feel
I do.
like yeah, like who hasn't had trauma?
Yes.
Like right? On some
Ev
level,
Well, it depends
everybody.
on how you define it. Because some people, if they're still stuck in trauma is a specific, really horrible event that's happened, war,
Yeah.
veterans, you think of it like that. It's like, okay, or something really bad that could be identified. But all people have small, little traumas that stack. And trauma is anything that feels too overwhelming and too much to the body that we don't know how to process or integrate ourselves.
Mm.
And so, if we don't have a compassionate presence of an adult or somebody, especially when we're children, when we're younger, to guide us through it or to teach us how to respond to it, the body just holds it.
Mm.
And so, yes, like I believe that even the best parents in the world don't know fully what's going on in their kids' minds.
Yeah,
There are
no.
moments
No
there
way.
are moments when we have unintentionally, I've had to get real with this about myself, created more suffering for our kids, not meaning to, but we didn't know the fullness of what was going on inside of them. Because at some point, if even if it's just a small thing, if they repressed their authentic emotions at any point,
Yeah.
it's likely that that moment will express itself again later at some point in their life.
That makes really good sense. And I'm confident. Like one of the things that Pat and I will talk about is the things that we don't realize that we're doing to the kids or the things that we're missing that we don't even realize that and I'm sure it happens
And this is where
all
grace
the
comes in.
time, like all the
This is
time,
where grace
all the
comes
time.
in
Yeah, because we
because
can't, we
we can't.
can't, we
It's not
can't.
humanly possible
Mm-mm.
to expect ourselves to not. So it's like even the most well-intended parents who are trying to be very present, if you have more than one kid,
Yeah,
you're stretched. You're not always able to be fully present and tuned in to the true deep emotional needs that are going on in the inside of a person.
yeah, Yes.
Just
Well,
moments.
yeah, just distractions. I've realized
Yeah.
it's interesting that you say that because one of the things I've really been convicted of lately as a parent that I'm like, man, I have been doing this for 19 years. That's how old our oldest is. I am a to-do list person. I'm a box checker. It's like I talked about. That's why I've had to kind of reevaluate my faith and my relationship with the Lord because it was becoming too much me checking off boxes. And
Mhm.
I realized like I get so engrossed in my tasks that there were times, the kids would come home and like be talking to me about something. And I all of a sudden be like, well, I've missed like
I have no clue what they said.
I have
Yeah.
no idea what they said. Like, I got, I'm just chopping the chicken or
Every
whatever.
mom can agree. Every mom knows what that's like. There's just moments, yeah, you're
Yeah,
distracted.
or it's just you're so distracted. And so I've just
Mhm.
really been trying lately, and this is so encouraging to me. So I've been really trying, and I'm still messing up at it quite a bit, but grace, to just be present with them because for some reason I'm really good at being present with my friends. Like my friends, like if I'm sitting across from you, I'm really likely to really tune in while we're talking. But I don't do that with the people in my home as well as I do with people outside of my home.
But
And
that makes sense because we're
yeah.
with the people in our home all of the time, like a lot more. So when you're with friends, it's a special kind of occasion type of thing. So I think for me, like the way that I've allowed myself to have more grace in that aspect is like trying to be more present in moments and
Yeah.
having really dedicated moments of presence because it's not possible and I can't expect myself to be fully present and engaged with every human when there's multiple humans in my home
That'd be
at the
crazy.
same time. It's like, I can't, I'm not God. I can't do that.
Can't do that. Well, and and maybe part of it too is communicating. Because one of the things and as I am attempting to be more present with I've started to say things like, if you see me working or doing something, instead of just coming down and starting talking, like maybe we can ask each other, like, is now a good time? And then I can say, I give me five
Yes.
minutes versus just them talking while I'm finishing an email. We're trying to
Yes.
communicate about when we can communicate. Well, unless there's an emergency. Like if somebody
100%.
comes out crying, of course that's a different thing
Yeah.
than, just like, hey, I want to talk to you about the day. Like, okay, I want to listen, but let's plan for this. 2 minutes.
Yes, exactly, and communication is key, right? Of like, you matter to me, and like, can I come back to this in this much, within this much of time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Jill, this is like, oh, it's so good. Like, I want to have you back on. I don't know. I feel like because we could go so many directions with this. I just realized as we're talking, we're like, oh, we could just go into so much with the parenting. There's so much to say in the
Yeah.
realms of all these things that you've learned that you can then just kind of you can put it in every facet of life. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for you. Is there anything that you want to say or that we haven't touched on that you want to close on? Any
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah, let's just, and this will kind of piggyback off of one of your last questions too about, um, just really not being scared to engage in emotions. Emotions don't have to be scary. It makes sense that a lot of people feel scared by them. They feel overwhelming. They're scared that if they actually dig into something, it's going to feel like too much, or they're just not going to know what to do with it. And this is where I would say, you know, hire a coach, hire somebody who can teach you skills.
Mm-hmm.
There are some counselors that are able to do that. I never found one in my journey that was able to actually teach me the skills to implement on my own. They were using their own skills in the sessions, but the empowering part of this, taking your power back with agency, like you said, which just means, for anybody who doesn't know what that word means, just means choice. Having choices and choosing to take action, engaging in the messy emotions. sometimes it's easier to do that with a guide so that you're
Mhm.
not trying to figure it all out on your own, and it doesn't when it does feel overwhelming, you start retraining your nervous system and your brain that we don't have to fear emotion, we can be present with them, and we can actually be a part of creating less suffering for ourselves when we have the skills. I like to think of it like riding a unicycle. It's less about, like, riding a bicycle because most people know how to ride a bicycle. I like to say
Yeah,
a
yeah.
unicycle because it's completely new.
Yeah, when
Most
you just
people
said that, I
wouldn't
was
know
like,
how to
"Ooh, can
ride it.
people do that?" That's tricky.
You can expect that anytime you're doing something new and unfamiliar, it's like trying to ride a unicycle for the first time.
Mhm.
And it's going to feel messy. It's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to take practice. And that's what I like to look at my approach of healing as skills-based practice, of learning how to tune in to your body, to what it's holding, and then respond to the emotions that are present. And I like to call this dancing in the mess. We haven't talked about why it's called dancing in the mess, but it's like we're taking one messy step. We're not jumping off of a cliff. We're not doing that. Our nervous
Yeah.
systems don't like that. In order to truly rewire and heal your nervous system and respond to stress and trauma triggers from a place of calm and ease and confidence, um, it really takes small steps of really stepping into the mess, creating a more capacity to be present with the discomfort, but
Yeah.
also more capacity to be present with the light, with the joy. So everything that I do, I feel like I'm a light worker, because I'm bringing light into the darkness, into those dark shadow parts within somebody, and I'm just illuminating the light that's actually already there within them. It's been there from the very beginning when they were created by God. And so for me, it's like we can dance in the mess when we're also knowing the skill of how to bring in the light and to actually illuminate the light within us and with God, and then we start dancing through the mess, and it doesn't have to feel as scary and overwhelming.
Yes. Oh, Jill, that's so encouraging. It is so beautiful. You are so beautiful. You are truly just the most beautiful soul inside and out. You are a gift, my friend. You are truly a gift. You have been a gift to me since the day I first met
Mhm.
you. So thank you for
You are
bringing,
too.
thank you. So thank you for bringing yourself, your whole self, your heart, your story. For anybody that's listening that wants to learn how to dance in the mess, to have light illuminated in those shadow places, how can they find you, Jill? If somebody's like, you know what, I want in. Like I'm looking for a coach. I'm looking for to take that step to get into that closet. How can they find you?
Yeah. So it's easy. You can find me at Dancing in the Mess on Instagram and Facebook, and you can find me online on my website, dancinginthemess.com. I made it nice and easy.
Yeah, that is nice and easy. That's helpful. And that's so much that's you. You are dancing in the mess and you're learning how to and you're teaching others how to. And it's so beautiful. Thank you, friend. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here.
Thanks
I
for
love
having
you.
me.
You're
I love
welcome.
you.
Let's do it again, shall we?
Yes.
I love you too,
Cheers
friend.
to that.
I love you too. All right, bye.